Hello everyone, I am Laethas, and today I'm going to be doing my manga collection video. I am currently sitting at around 186 volumes, and for this video, I am going to be doing a quick, brief summary about what I know about each of the series I have so far, how far into each series I am, how I think of it as of now, just in brief, nothing too in-depth. So hopefully this video doesn't get too long. Anyway, let's kick this off. To start, here we have my Nazca of the Valley of the Wind box set. I am only one volume through the series, and by one volume I mean one of the 7 original volumes, because each of these contains several of the original manga in it. So I don't really have much to say, but I'm really excited to see where it's going. And then let's move on down to the next shelf. Sorry if it's a little dark here, but over here we have Hanakimi. This is a nice little shoujo series. It's only the first 3 volumes, and there's a total of 23. So there isn't really much to say about this one right now, but it's a pretty good romance. And if you're into that kind of thing, this is definitely a series I would recommend picking up. Then next we have 1 through 21 of Nana, and that is up to date / complete, depending on whether or not Aizawa decides to pick up the series again, because this thing has been on hiatus since 2009. But there are some rumors that she's going to pick it up later this year, and I am very excited, because this right here, this is one of the best drama stories that I have ever seen. It is remarkable just what it is able to do. And it's hard to talk about this series, because there's just so much to it. It's incredibly dense. They made a 47 episode anime series with no filler out of just the first 12 volumes. So that just goes to show you how much is packed into each one of these volumes. But I would highly, highly recommend picking this up. Then next we have Dawn of the Arcana, volumes 1 through 4. That is not complete. This series is really quick to get through, and I like where it's going. The politics is actually a lot more in-depth than I thought it was going to be, and it's kind of interesting to see how everything works out. But yeah, if you like political sort of stuff, you might like this. It has a very decent romance going on in it, so I would recommend picking that up. Ore-sama Teacher. This is just a nice, fun comedy series. Nothing much else more than that so far. Only 1 through 3, so I'm not too far in, considering this thing is still ongoing with like 20-something. I think it's like 21, 22 volumes right now. But anyway, just a fun little comedy. If you are unsure whether or not you want to get into shoujo series, this is very close to being what you would find in a Shonen Jump series, if I'm going to be honest. You wouldn't have to change much, and it would feel very at home in a shonen manga. And then we have the first volume of Skip Beat. This is an interesting series. I'm not overly into it, but I'm curious enough to see where it's going, to pick up a few more just to see whether or not I like it. But as of now, I'm not sure on it. And then we have, next to that, we have the first volume of LDK, and this series, not sure on. I'll have to get more volumes, but I'm not in much of a rush to get them, because this first volume, it had a little bit of intrigue, and it wasn't bad. I'm not sure on this one. And then next to that, we have A Silent Voice, and if you haven't picked this up already, you should do so. This is only 7 volumes long, so it isn't all that expensive, and honestly, this is one of the best redemption stories that you will ever read. A lot of people say that this series is like specifically about bullying and disabilities, and while that is true and that plays a part in it, I think calling it a redemption story is a much better overview of what this is, because this first volume right here, this is basically backstory and setup for the other 6, and it really puts things, it sets things up fantastic for the story to play out in these 6 volumes. One of the best stories that I've read. Very, very, very good. I'm sure you've heard this before. This is a very well-known series, but I would highly recommend checking this out. And then we have Parasite Volumes 1 through 8. Missing 3 currently, but that is only because it got damaged, and so I am waiting for it to be exchanged. It got damaged in the mail, so I sent that back to Right Stuff. And it takes a while to get that back, so currently do not have Volume 3, but I should have it at some point in the near future, but right now I don't. But this series, this is a very good series. Unfortunately, though, well, I guess not unfortunately, because it's still very good, but I preferred the anime to the manga format of this series. I just felt like it was a better representation of the series as a whole. So if you haven't checked out the anime, I would absolutely do that. But the manga is still a very, very solid read. If you're into psychological sort of stuff, then this will definitely get you thinking. There's some pretty heavy drama moments, and there's a fair bit of comedy towards the beginning, but towards the later parts, it really starts to peter out. But this is a really good series nonetheless, and I'm happy that I have it. Then next to that, see if I can get it in here, we have Kiss and White Lily for My Dearest Girl. This is a Yuri series, put out by Yen Press. It's pretty decent, so let me pull the cover out. The relationship between these two girls is kind of okay. I'm not too into it right now, but the relationship between these two, I think, is a much better Yuri relationship, and it's much better developed. I like these characters a lot more than the ones on the front. But when you compare it to other Yuri series, it's kind of average to below average, but I still like it enough to probably pick up 1 or 2 more volumes, see how it goes from there. But if you're thinking about getting into Yuri, I would not start with this one, because it's not the best representation of that. And then next to that, we have Helter Skelter. And this series is very interesting. I believe this is the only josei series that I own, or officially titled josei. So if we swing back over here to Nana, it's technically considered a shoujo, but I don't know about that. It's technically a shoujo because it's in a shoujo magazine, but really past like here, around here in the beginning, things change a lot. So some people call that a josei, and I would probably be one of them. But anyway, back to Helter Skelter. This is a really dark and depressing series. I would highly recommend checking it out if you are into sort of life drama type stuff. This is a little bit of an expensive volume, but you get like, it's kind of like 1.5 volumes. It's thicker than the average volume. It's pretty decent. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Moving on to the next shelf, right down here, we have my hardcover edition of Wolf Children. I have this basically on the strength of the film. I do like the manga adaptation. The film is one of my favorite films of all time, so that is kind of what brought me to purchase this. It is a pretty decent adaptation, although for whatever reason, Yen Press, someone messed up in translation. One of I'm not going to point it out here, but like one of the chants makes absolutely no sense the way they translated it. But anyway, if you're a fan of the film, you might want to check this out, but it's kind of expensive, so you might not want to. Enough said about that. Then we have A Bride's Story, volumes 1 through 3. And this is a decent, I shouldn't say decent, this is a very good sort of slice of life, I guess. Slice of lifey maybe isn't the right genre for this, but it's set in Central Asia during, I believe, the 17, 18, or 1900s, around somewhere in there. I know that's a lot of time, but it's somewhere in that range. I like it. The artwork in this is absolutely fantastic. So if you're one of those people that likes to look at really good artwork, pick this up. You will not be disappointed. It's a little bit expensive though, because it's a hardcover edition, and it's a Yen Press hardcover, so it gets even more expensive, just like the Wolf Children volume, which is also expensive. Yeah. Yen Press hardcovers. Expensive. As much as I like this series, as much as I want to continue it, I probably will buy new volumes of this every now and then, just because they are so expensive to get. But a very good series nonetheless, and something I would recommend at least checking out. Then we have the all-in-one omnibus volume of All You Need Is Kill. If you are thinking about starting a manga collection, this is something I would recommend getting, because it is it's pretty decent. You will probably like it more than I did, and it's cheap. It's, I think, $15 retail. I'm not sure on that, but it is a complete story. It's pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of the ending, but I think I'm in the minority on that one, so you would probably like this a lot more than I did. Moving on to Solanin by Inio Asano. This book is great. It's very good. You should get this book. I love this book. It is amazing. It is a fantastic story, and if you're familiar with Inio Asano works, this is one that is not hard to follow. It's very straightforward. It still has his typical style of writing in it. Very, very good. It'll get you to think. I highly recommend picking this up. It's only a single volume, and it's a very nice quality volume. Viz released stuff in this format. It's so nice. I love it. Please, Viz, more of this. More Inio Asano as well. But, check this out. Very good. Highly recommend. Do purchase. You want to have this in your collection, and you want to read it. And the next to that, we have my other Asano work, What a Wonderful World. Again, this is, I think, Asano's second work that he released, and sorry for the cut there, guys. I had a really bad cough, and I really didn't want that on camera. It would not have sounded pleasant. But anyway, What a Wonderful World. I think this is Inio Asano's second publication, though I'm not entirely certain on that. But this is kind of like a collection of short stories that sort of tie in together. The characters are related or are in relationships in a very complicated way. You can find some crazy character relation charts, images. If you just Google, like, What a Wonderful World character relations, it's pretty crazy how all of it's sort of interconnected and not at the same time. But if you're familiar with Inio Asano works and you like Inio Asano, you'll like this. Tokyo Ghoul, volumes 1 through 8. Oh, I should mention, this complete Bride Story, not up to date. Forgot to do that. And these are complete as well as the Wolf Children hardcover over here. Anyway, back to Tokyo Ghoul. Volumes 1 through 8, not complete yet. I have not started this. I've seen both seasons of the anime. I know Route A does its own sort of thing, and it splits off somewhere around here, but this is a series I know I'm going to like. And so I'm going to collect the entire series before I binge read it. So yeah, I expect to like this. And it's so popular, a lot of people like it, so you probably will like it as well. We have Happiness, volumes 1 through 4. That is up to date, with volume 5 coming out in July, I believe. And this is a very, very good series. By Shuzo Oshimi, right there. He's the same guy that did The Flowers of Evil, if you've read that. And I would say that this is better than The Flowers of Evil so far. I really, really like Happiness, and I really want to see where it goes. Next up, we have 5 centimeters per second. Of course, this is based on the film by Makoto Shinkai. And if you've seen the film, the manga version is better. It goes more in depth. There's more detail, more character development. It is overall just a better showing of the story, or better telling of the story, I should say. This is something if you're starting a collection, this is also something that I would recommend getting, because it is a complete story in a single volume. So it isn't all that expensive, and you get the whole story in that one volume. So it's very good. It's pretty sad. I'm not gonna lie about that. I did not cry in this, although I definitely see why some would, because it is very sad, especially if you've ever been in a long distance relationship. So this may get the waterworks flowing. Next we have another Inio Asano work, A Girl on the Shore. This one might bother you. I'm not going to say why. You can look up on Mal or something why this might bother you. Other than that, I really like it, because things that bother other people tend to not bother me as much. So if you like Inio Asano works, you'll like this. I really like this. I'm a bit iffy on the ending, but I still really enjoy this story nonetheless. I think it's very good, but if you're bothered by certain things, you might be repulsed by this just by the nature of what the story is. And then next to that we have The God's Lie, a single volume, all in one. And this is really short. I don't seem to like this as much as most people, but I still think it's a very nice, solid story. I just wish it were longer. Maybe like 2 or 3 volumes, because I feel you could get a lot more character development in if it just had a little bit more. But if you're starting a collection, this is a good series to start with. Short, not that expensive, and it's complete. Next we have Chibi Vampire, volumes 1 through 4, Airmail and Bites. And Bites isn't, like, really a volume, it's more just a... I'm not entirely sure what to call it. It's not an art book. Certainly not an art book. Information guide, maybe? I don't know. I read this a while ago, and I recently picked it up. Most of my volumes, surprisingly, are in very, very good shape. There are only a few that are pretty beat up. Just 1 through 3, 9 and 10, and 2 is in some pretty bad condition. Because I bought all of these used. But yeah, you can see up there, volume 2 is in pretty bad condition, but for the most part, this is a very, very nice sort of... I'm lucky to have the volumes in as nice of condition as I do, because this is out of print. So, anyway, this is a nice little rom-com. If If you like rom-coms, you'll like this. This is one of the better ones. Yeah. And then, shift over here. Oh no. It's a Project H. What have you done to us? No, this is one of the series that they released that is actually not a hentai. This is a borderline H series. I find it very, very hilarious. So, yeah, the only problem with their releases for their series, is that they're kind of expensive. This is not complete, by the way. There's a 5th volume coming out later this year, I believe. And Project H, if you're listening, no other licensor is brave enough to license the titles that you do. I know you don't do too many borderline H series that aren't actually hentai, but Nozoki Anna, please, I need it. It's so good. It's like one of the best drama series ever. Please license it. But anyway, I'm happy with Neoteika. It's hilarious. Each volume is kind of like it's its own separate theme of the story, but it all is cohesive, if that makes sense. This is more of a niche series, but I find it very, very funny. Then we have, over here in the corner, The Garden of Words. The film is better, but if you like the film, you should get this volume. If you haven't watched the film, watch the film first. Do not buy this volume if you have not watched the film. But if you have, you want this. This is very good. Alright, moving on to the bottom shelf. Alright, now down here, we have my hardcover of Nijigahara Holograph. This is, I want to say Inio Asano's first publication, though I'm not sure on that. But anyway, this is the hardest one to follow. This is the Inio Asano work that makes the least amount of sense. And if you know anything about Asano, that means this makes almost no sense. It's really there to make you feel things. You will have to read this several times to know all that is going on. I've read it once. I enjoyed it. I didn't really know everything that was happening, but it was a fun read. If you are thinking about getting something, Inio Asano, not this one. Don't get this one. Get that one. The one right there. Get that one. And then if you like Inio Asano works, then maybe you can think about getting this one. The one very nice thing about this is probably one of the single nicest volumes that I have. The quality is unbelievable. It might even be better than the Nausicaa hardcovers, believe it or not, and those are super nice, but this is a really, really nice release put out by Fantagraphics. They don't have very much, but this is a really good work for them to have, because Inio Asano, I like Inio Asano. Lots of people like Inio Asano. Anyway, this is a nice volume. I like this story. If you've not read Inio Asano, you shouldn't get this as your first one. Sorry for the cut again, guys. I had to cough again, and I don't like getting those on camera, but anyway, here we have the first hardcover omnibus of Vinland Saga. And, Insidious Swede, please don't hurt me. I don't mean this to be mean, but I don't find this series to be particularly that good. I know he adores this series a lot, but so far after this first volume, I'm not all that into it. For a hardcover release of an omnibus format, these are pretty cheap if you consider all that. But yeah, I'm not too into it. It'll be a while before I collect the second volume. It's not bad. I just don't think it's anything amazing. But I'm sorry, Insidious Swede. I know you like it. I think it's just kind of okay. And next we have my Yuri section. Or, well, my 7 Seas Yuri section, I should say. Right here we have the complete Kindred Spirits on the Roof collection. This one's alright. From what I hear, there's actually a game that this is kind of based on, and if you've played the game, makes more sense, and it's better, and I haven't done that. But as a Yuri series standalone, it's pretty decent. It's not the first one that I would pick up, but it's okay. I'm happy I have it. And then next we have the first volume of Citrus. And I cannot wait to get more of this series. I need to see where this goes. This is very interesting. Let's not show the cover. I'm not sure if YouTube would like that. But anyway, I like this one. This is a lot more sexual in nature than most of the other Yuri that are out. It's a lot more lewd, but yes, I like this and I want to get more. Then next to that, we have the first volume of the Kaze-san series, Kaze-san and Morning Glories. The second volume of this just came out recently, Kaze-san and Bento, and I need to get that. This is really good. This is not nearly as lewd as Citrus, and the characters, never mind, I'm not going to spoil that. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil it, so, yeah, I'm going to spoil it very briefly. After this first volume, the characters are in a relationship. It's amazing. Yay! Now I just have to wait to read the second volume and third volume and however many volumes there are. I need to get them. I like it. Then we have Secret of the Princess by Milk Morinaga. This is a single volume. It's on par with the rest of Milk Morinaga's stuff. I don't think it's as good as Girlfriends, but it's a lot cheaper than Girlfriends. So, if you don't want to spend the money getting Girlfriends, this is the series I would recommend getting if you want to try getting into Yuri, because it's very, very similar to Girlfriends. I don't think it's as good, but it's roughly the same. And you can kind of get a feel for the way Milk Morinaga does stories. But, yeah, I like this a lot, but I don't think it's as good as Girlfriends, which is what we're getting into next. The 2 omnibuses released by 7 Seas, 2.5 volumes per. This is like the originator of modern Yuri right here. This is kind of what spawned all of that. Is this right here. This is what made everything take off. This is like this is the start of modern Yuri. This is also as of now, because none of the other really good ones are complete, this is the best Yuri. I would recommend picking this up. Not much else to say. Very, very good. Yeah. Next we have Kisses, Sighs, and Cherry Blossom Pink, also by Milk Morinaga. There are a couple of short stories sort of in the beginning and towards the end, but throughout the midsection, it's one continuous story about these two girls' relationship. I like it. Yeah. If you like Yuri, you should like this. This is a very well done one. Not as good as Girlfriends, about the same as Secret of the Princess, but it's more expensive. So I'd recommend getting Secret of the Princess first, but I really do like this series, this book. It has a very decent Yuri relationship. Then we have Gakuen Polizi, a 2-volume series by Milk Morinaga, and yes, this is also complete. This one's okay. These 3 series right here are better than this one, but this one's kind of a mishmash of a lot of things, and it doesn't have as much direction, but I still don't think it's bad. I'm happy I have it, especially since this second volume right here I think is completely out of print. So, unless you are a hardcore Yuri fan, I would not go looking for this, because out-of-print things are rather expensive. So, on to the next one, NTR Netsuzo Trap. This is very interesting. Like Citrus over here, this one is also quite lewd. Only in this one of the characters is an absolutely horrible human being. Just as a person. Not because they're cheating, even though that's kind of bad, but because the person is an actually terrible person. Anyway, I still like it because the Yuri's good. Moving on. Bloom Into You. Bloom Into You is not like the lewd NTR Trapper Citrus. It's more on the pure-hearted maidens type thing that Kaze-san has going for it. I really like this series. I want to see where it goes. And, yeah, more Yuri. More Yuri is good. Then we have Meiochiki 1 through 7 complete. This is a nice rom-com. I think some of the volumes are out of print in single volume format, though I'm not sure on that. So if you want to collect this, you're probably going to have to go with Omnibus, which is unfortunate because the Omnibus volumes are not as nice as the single volumes, but this is a pretty decent series. I think the anime covers up to somewhere in here between 3 and 5 is where the anime covers. This does complete the story. And overall, I think it's pretty decent. Next up, we have Love in Hell 1 through 3 complete and Love in Hell Death Life 1 and 2. The original series was incredibly creative, and I absolutely loved it, except for it's too short. If this had continued going, and the author had developed it more, this could be an absolutely phenomenal series. The characters are likable. The world is just so interesting in the first series that I just wanted more. And then Death Life, the author made the main heroine a lot more lolly, which I didn't like as much. Koyori, which is the main heroine in the first one, is already kind of starting to get there, but I'm just gonna pull this out and show you guys the difference in the lolliness of the characters. So you have Koyori right there. So she actually looks like she might be a young adult. And then you come over here and she is certainly a child. So he even turned our main character from like a normal 20-year-old dude into a 20-year-old dude that looks like he's like 10 years old. So this one has a lot of lolly and shota, and it's just kind of okay. It's basically this again, and it's not as creative, but I still enjoyed it. So I would recommend picking up this first series. I really, really liked it. I would have much preferred it to be longer, though, but it's still very, very solid. And then decide on yourself whether you want to pick up Death Life. I don't regret picking up Death Life. It's just not as good as the original. And then we have the first 2 volumes of the infamous How to Build a Dungeon book of the Demon King. And this series is a lot more ecchi than this series, believe it or not. Yes, it is more ecchi than Nyotaika. Oh dear. Oh boy. First volume, not so bad. Second volume, oh man. Holy boy. There's a lot in that one. So, be careful. Not sure what else to say about this one. Moving on. I have volumes 1 through 11 of Flowers of Evil. That is complete. Oh, this is not complete, by the way. Not complete. These are complete. Flowers of Evil, complete. Very, very good. Highly recommend. This is well known A very well-known series, very well-regarded series, and I would have to agree with that. The only issue is volumes are going out of print, so they're going to get expensive. So if you want it, you might want to jump on it now. Volume 10 is already out of print. It cost me more money than I would have liked to have spent on a volume, picking up volume 10. But I'm still happy I did it, because otherwise I would have been missing volume 10, and that would not have been fun. And next we have volumes 1 through 6 of Devil's Line. This is one of the greatest new series to have come out. I love, love, love Devil's Line. It's very good. The character relationships are great. The story is great. It has very interesting elements to it. I would highly recommend at least picking up these first 2 volumes, because Ryo Hanada has done a fantastic job creating a great, great series here. And then next to that, we have Ajin volumes 1 through 5. That is not complete. Oh, Devil's Line is not complete either. Volume 7 is coming out in June, early June, I think. But anyway, back to Ajin. This is not complete. I really, really liked the first volume, and then it kind of started to not get as good in these last couple of volumes, so I'm not sure when I'll pick up the next couple of volumes, but it's pretty good. Read this first volume, probably read this second volume before you decide to pick up more of the series. It's decent. You will probably like it more than I did, but it's just kind of okay to me. And now moving on to the last series. We have the Claymore Complete box set. And this was the first piece of manga that I owned. So it has some nostalgia for me, and I really like Claymore. If you're into hack and slash, you'll like this. If you like really good art, you'll like this. The monsters in this look amazing. They look incredible. We have Claire right here. She's a great main character. The backstory that begins in volume 3, and I believe it continues through either 4 or 5, is one of the greatest backstories in a shonen series. I would highly recommend picking up the first couple of volumes. Either that or going with a box set. I hesitate to say go with the box set because they're expensive, but they really are the most value. But yeah, that is Claymore. And then here we just have the first volume of Spice and Wolf. I haven't read this yet. First volume of Knights of Sidonia, which is pretty decent. I'm not going to pick up any more volumes anytime soon, but it's quick to get through, and it's pretty decent. And then we have the novel version of Welcome to the NHK. I am 6 or 7 chapters into this, and it's pretty good. But yeah, that would be my manga collection video. So let's get that in there, right there. Nazca up there. And, okay. Let's see if I can get the whole thing in. There it is, the whole collection. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in my next video.